So I was in a situation where I couldn't see past the situations that I was in. Not that anything was going bad, but it was spiritual for me. It was spiritual in the sense of, God, I'm tired of being where I am. I know that there's something greater. I know that there's a next level, and I know that there's a next destination and a next step, but I just could not figure out how to get there. And I didn't feel his presence. I didn't feel like he was near. I didn't feel like he was near me, that he was beside me, that he was carrying me. And all I wanted to do was to just be in his presence. So I would pray and nothing. I would sing and nothing. I would try to read the word and read my way through and pray my way through and nothing. And I like to journal, and even in writing, I couldn't even write my way through to that next level, to the next situation. And so some people call this place Lodabar, and Strong's Hebrew defines it as a pastureless place, a place of nothingness, nothing. It's a lonely place, and I don't know if you've ever been there before, but it's a place that you don't ever want to stay long.
Amen.
And there was nothing that I could do. It just felt like I was just gonna die in this place. It felt like I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't do anything. It was almost like in a desert land where there's nothing and you're just kind of walking like a zombie, just going with the motions, going to church, going to Bible study, going to work, just kind of coasting your way through. No emotions, no anything. And I said, God, it's got to be more than this. I cannot continue to do this, God. I don't know what it is, hoping and praying that it wasn't anything that I had done. But it was a place of resting. It was a place where I didn't understand what was going on, because just things weren't lining and syncing up. What I had done in the past to get to the next level, I could no longer do anymore. To get to the next level. And you're afraid to tell anybody because you think that you're in this place all alone and by yourself. So you are afraid to say something to anybody, even if you go up there and pray. You know Sister Temeka, yeah, she just got ordained. You know the one that always sings. She says she don't feel God. What's wrong with her? What's going on in her life? What's going on? Is something going on with her marriage or her kids? What's going on? Why can't she hear from God? And so because of that fear, you never want to expose yourself and to be vulnerable. But I'm here to tell you that you're not the only person in that place. I'm here to tell you that there is a group of people surrounding you that if you would allow the fear to cease and just open your mouth and to say something to somebody, that God will meet you where you are. Amen. My husband could see the battle going on in me constantly, and he would just always ask, baby, are you okay? And I would just tell him I'm good, but this was something that he couldn't help me with, that he couldn't rescue me from. And when I don't hear and see God or feel God, you start doubting yourself. You start doubting your life. You start doubting your purpose. You start doubting your calling. You start doubting where you are spiritually. And I cried out constantly, God, I don't like this place. I hate this place, God. I'm so sorry for whatever I've done. Lord, I don't know what it was, but whatever it is, just forgive me, because I don't know what it is, but I just want to get it right so I can get on. And Sister Sabrina approached me and encouraged me after service that Sunday, and she told me that, this is a resting place. And this is a resting place for your next level, and it was a confirmation that it was a holding place for the next level. And I've been in this place before, and she mentioned to me, I've been there in Lodabar, but for some reason,
it was different. This
time it seemed much worse spiritually than it had ever been before. And I'm telling y'all, I felt like I was dying. I said, God, I can't do this. And I found myself wrestling with God and fighting with God. And I'm going to share with you what he showed me and how he kind of linked up the story of Jacob and how I wrestled and how it kind of links together. So Jacob is the son of Isaac and Rebekah, and the younger twin brother of Esau. And many of you already know this story, but for those of you who don't, Jacob is a mama's boy and Esau was a daddy's boy. And Jacob allowed his mother to kind of coerce him into deceiving his father on his deathbed and stole the birthright of Esau. And so the birthright, the importance of it was a double portion of his father's inheritance. And he's the grandson of Abraham. So if you can just imagine all that Abraham was and had and everything that was promised to him down in his lineage, this was a lot that was going to be passed down from generation to generation. And to the oldest, which was the one to get the birthright. So the inheritance was great. Now, when Esau found out that Jacob had done this, he threatened to kill him. So his mother convinced Isaac to send him away and to get a wife, and so she wanted to get him out of harm's way. So Jacob here we have as a deceiver, a hustler, someone who always wants to kind of get themselves, they're looking out for themselves, always trying to be the one on top, always trying to outbeat or outthink somebody else, which is a lot of us.
Come on.
He went to Laban's camp and saw Rachel. He fell in love and wanted to marry her. And Laban told Jacob, of course you can have her, but you have to work for me for 7 years. And then he could have Rachel. So on the wedding night, he did a whoopsie-doo. He switched them. And he gave him his oldest, which was Leah. And Jacob was so upset because, he wanted to have Rachel, but it was customary for the oldest to be married first. So when Jacob found out that it was Leah, he, of course, went to Laban. Well, what are you doing? We had a deal. I worked and I labored for you. I did all of this stuff, and you give me this? This isn't what I asked for. And so Jacob, he told him, look, I'm sorry, but this is the oldest. We can't send out the oldest, send the youngest out without having the oldest. And so Jacob did another 7 years, and he finally got Rachel. And so there we see the story of how Jacob had a never-ending life of struggles, and in that context too, it also talks about how the sisters, when they got together, then they were fighting about, for his love and his attention, and who, he would love more. And I don't know if you've ever seen boys or even men who long for their father's love and their father's attention and their father's acceptance and their father's approval. Now I know Isaac loved Jacob, but I know that he longed for a relationship with his father that Esau had. So now he's fled, he's left behind the birthright that he stole, and left the promised land, and he's moving forward and going to go find his wife, and then he meets his match with Laban. So after the 14 years, he gets his wife, and again, the sisters are competing one another, and so Jacob now is in this place where God has blessed him greatly with his children, his family, he's done his work, he's done his labor, and so he's going to Laban, and he's asking Laban. Now, after he's time and time again told him the 7 years, you can have Rachel, then he lied to him, actually lied to him, then told him he could have Rachel after the 7 years. So he did 14 years of hard labor, and now he's looking to leave so he can take his family on. And he wants to go and have his own land, his own country, and Laban pleaded with him and told him, I need you to stay. See, Laban knew that because Jacob was there, God was blessing his flock. He was blessing everything that he had because the promise was already with Jacob. God was blessing Jacob because he was Isaac's son. And so Laban knew that, wait a minute, if you leave, I know that the blessings are going to go with you, so I need you to stay. And so Jacob, told him, look, God, name your wages. He told Jacob, name your wages and I'll pay you. Jacob said, look, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I've labored for you faithfully. I've done all that God has asked me to do here. And everywhere that I've turned, it's been blessed. When you came, you had nothing. Now look around. You have everything. Allow me to go and do as I please, and allow me to go as God is calling me to that next level, to go with my family, to go to my own country, to go and kind of make my own resting place. He said, I just want to be able to provide for my own household. Some of you right now are in the place where Jacob was. He wants to move you forward to your next level, and your surroundings won't allow you.
Come on.
You have your family members, you have your friends, you have your baby daddies, your baby mamas, your side pieces, your booze, your jobs, your money.
Come on now.
Situations that are manipulating you out of where God wants to take you. You know it's time to move. You know it's time to let go. You know it's time to drop off the dead weight. You know that these people and or things, whatever they are in your life and in your situation, are stopping you to move to the next level, but yet you stay.
That's good.
So Jacob knew that it was time for him to leave, and he was tired of being manipulated into staying where he knew it was time for him to move. He told Laban, look, I don't want anything from you. Just let me go. Let me walk through the flock. I'll remove every speckled, spotted, black, and bristled goat, lambs. I'll take and take it and just let that be my wages. I don't want anything else from you because I don't want you to try to hold me down. If you find anything speckled, spotted, or black, or bristled among me, then you can say that I stole it. Laban got angry and he knew that if Jacob left, that he was going to take all the blessings with him and he was not going to be able to prosper. So the angel of the Lord in a dream told Jacob that God had seen all that Laban had done to him, and because of it, God switched the thing around. So Laban ended up with the ring straight and the speckle, told him to go back to the land of your father. Go back to the land of your kindred. So he finally gets all of his stuff in place, and he listens to where God wants to move him, and he's trying to move forward. So he's leaving behind everything in his past. He's leaving behind those manipulators who try to hold him down. They aren't going to allow you to leave without a fight, though. So how many of you willing to fight your way through this to this next
Come on now.
Laban goes to meet him. Although God told him and told, don't you say anything to Jacob, good or bad. But Laban wanted to go, he wanted to meet him. He confronts David and he asks him, he says, why did you leave without allowing me to send you off properly? And without saying goodbye to my daughters. Jacob told him, look, I didn't want to leave you. I didn't want to leave you. But I knew that you wouldn't have allowed me to leave without tricking me into doing something else again. So I left. I fled. Now some of you have so many different spirits attached and linked up with you.
You better say, girl.
They aren't going to possibly just let you go easily.
Come on now.
So some of you have some soul ties that you're linked up with from the different sexual relationships that you have, the different relationships that you've been with years and years and years, and you're wondering why you can't get to that next level because you still got him whispering in your ear. Some of you are still carrying those soul ties from when you were actually now married, and so now you still take those soul ties from when you were in those past relationships and are expecting for your wife and your husband to do things that you did when those soul ties were attached to you when you started. So how many are you willing to let go of the soul ties? Pornography, sexual addiction.
Get deep with it, girl.
How many of you willing to let go and say, God, I don't know what I have to do. I don't know where I have to go, God. But I'm telling you, God, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of where I am. I don't know how to get nowhere else, God. So, Lord, I'm going to follow you. If you're sick and tired of being where you are, you really want to be out, ain't no devil in hell going to be able to stop.
Come on now.
God will come, he will rescue you every single time. He's just waiting on you to say, God, I'm ready. He's just waiting on you to release and to surrender and say, God, I follow you. God, I'm tired of being where I am. Trust him through the process to your next level. You can't take everybody with you.
Yes.
You can't take everybody with you. Jacob remembered after God turns Laban's heart and they were able to move forward. They set sails forward, and Jacob remembered that he stolen a birthright from Esau, so he sent, and he was trying to manipulate his way again. So he sent some messengers ahead to his brother Esau with some gifts, and basically to try to test out the temperament, to say, you know, what's going on? What is he trying to do? Does he still want to kill me? What is going on? I need to make sure that I test out this water before I move forward. Although he heard God tell him, you need to go back to the land of your kindred. So it is a lot like us. So we get in these situations and we start analyzing our way through. We start thinking about our past, and we start thinking about what it was we did, and we start thinking and we allow those distractions to come up in our head and to stop us from moving forward. So he sent some of the messengers ahead to his brother Esau with the gifts and to see if he was still upset. And the messengers came back. They saw Esau coming with 400 men, and they fled. They didn't even approach Esau. They just saw Esau coming with all these 400 men. And they went back and they reported to Jacob what he saw. And what they saw was Esau coming with the 400 men. So God is equipping you with gifts that you've never encountered before. The people that you are trying to take with you are not ready, and they are not prepared for the spiritual battle that you are about to encounter.
Come on.
You're heading to a different level spiritually. So when they see a man with 400 people coming your way, they don't see that what God has before you. All they see is with their carnal eyes, that this man is coming, he's got all these people, and he's going to kill them.
Come on now.
They look at it for the situation as what the situation is, and they don't see God anywhere in the mix. So you have to be careful during this shift who you bring with you, who you allow to sit alongside of you, who you allow to be in your company, who you allow to communicate yourself with, who you sup with, who you sleep with. You offer your time and your space to, you have to be careful who it is. And getting to this next level, you can't do things the same way as you've done them in the past. Now, time and time around for me, I could sing my way through, I could pray my way through, I could read, I could write my way through, I could do all of that. And I feel God's presence, He's with me, and it's like, yes, we're going to the next level. This time it was like, no, that didn't work. So, okay, God, what do you need me to do differently? What do you need to do differently? What do I need to do differently? And for me, I had to fast and I had to pray more than I had ever done in my life before.
Come on.
To get to that next level, I had to kill off this flesh. I had to submit my flesh. My spirit was hungry, but my flesh wasn't hungry enough. So I had to kill off and to die off this flesh. Now, I can't tell you what you have to do to get to your next level or what's going to work for you. But I can tell you that God met me right where I was. And it was a beautiful reunion. I was in there, my husband was like, oh, God met her. He just come through. And it was such a beautiful reunion because I longed for that. I don't know if you've longed for something like that before, but I've longed. God, I just need your presence. I don't know if you know what it feels like for His presence not to ever be with you, but I don't want to be there. When I sing, when I minister, when I talk, I need Him to be there. I want to do it. When I go and I spend my time with Him, I need Him to be there. I don't want to be there without it. So 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 tells us that when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. As you grow in God, you cannot keep doing the same things. When you go to middle school and you're in middle school, you can't go to middle school acting like you're in elementary school. I mean, you just can't do it. Just like when you're at work. When you're at work, it's more work, more responsibility, and it requires for you to shift some things around in your life in order for you to continue to have a decent GPA, to continue to do well in school, to continue to do everything. Even when you're on your job, you get that promotion on your job, you cannot continue to perform as an assistant or an entry-level apprentice.
Come on now.
You can't do it. So I tell people all the time that I'm a recruiter, a staffer by nature. I love my job. I think I have the best job in the world. Now, the people I work with are a little different, but I love my job. Now, and I tell people often, when you want to get to that next level, perform like you're already at that next level. Do what you're trying to do. So as God is truly, He's really blessed me in my career, and I thank God for it. But you have to perform and do things differently. You are your brand. Remember that in your workplace. You're your brand. Who you communicate with, how you produce your work, how you report to work, how serious you take your job, how you create your goals, and how you want to achieve those things. That's all on you. You control that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a choice. You can't complain about not getting to that next level because, oh, he didn't like me, and oh, it's because I'm black, and oh, it's because I'm white, and oh, it's because I'm young, it's because I'm old. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. I tell my kids and I teach my kids all the time, do not allow somebody else in life to dictate to you who you are and what you can become in life. Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. You dictate that. There's prejudice all over the world. How many of you, after 9/11, got on an airplane and there was an Iranian or somebody that was dressed in clothes riding on your plane, and you watched them the whole time you were there? Exactly. Prejudice is all over the world. In every situation, whether it's on your job, whether it's in life, whether it's in your church, wherever it is, it's all over the world. But you cannot use it as your excuse why you can't move forward.
Come on.
People don't get jobs because of their weight, because of their personalities. You just have to trust God and His ability in you. Prejudice comes in all shapes, forms, and fashions. Learn everything that you can and master that level, and then you go and you get to the next level. Stay away from the busybodies. Stay away from the troublemakers. You determine those goals, and you remember what your brand is. Dress like it. Act like it. Communicate like it. Expand your circle. Get around the professionals that you want to become. Be quiet and just learn from them. You can't keep communicating the same way that you've always done. Watch some YouTube videos on how to successfully interview. There were 2 job opportunities that were mentioned here today. Nobody should be able to go into a job interview and not successfully going past it after today. Go to YouTube. You go to YouTube for everything else. Go to YouTube. Look up how to successfully interview for a job. Go to YouTube. Look at how to answer questions. Go to YouTube and watch how those individuals are answering the questions that are being asked of them. Don't go into the interview with a woe is me attitude. Go in there positive. If you gotta fake it, you gotta fake it. Go in there like you know what it is that you want to do and what you want to accomplish. Because you use your last few dollars on the metro ride to get to that interview and you're not even sure you're going to even get the job, you better fake it. You better go in there like, okay, yeah, I used my last, but she's about to give me a lot more because I'm about to go in here and I'm going to land this job interview. She's going to give me this job. Follow up with a thank you letter or an email. Call back, follow up. If you don't hear, send them a congratulations on their selection and you wish them the best of success. Set yourself apart from every other candidate.
Come on now.
And watch yourself in the mirror. There are a lot of times where I'm interviewing people or I'm watching people and they just got this stank face. When people are asking you questions, don't you think that the employer or the supervisor is looking at you and they're watching? They can see when you're thinking about something. They can see when you don't know what you're talking about. They can see when you don't know your resume. They can see when you don't know what it is you do and what you possess. They can see that. Practice in the mirror. Look at yourself. Shake yourself. If you have to go to from the time that you hit the parking lot, your interview starts. Think about that. From the time you hit that parking lot, your interview starts. For a long time, I was an aspiring actress and worked with Jay Cameron's Urban Change Outreach Ministry. You see in the house? And so with that, we did some exercises to get the actors and the actresses ready to get on stage, and then you also had to decompress when you got off the stage. So shake yourself up. Walk in confidence. If you got to slap yourself in the face, slap yourself in the face. You get on that parking lot, you go in there, know your resume like the back of your hand. Know what sets you apart. Look at that job opportunity and you say, you know what? I can do this. This is what I bring to the table. Not just that you're a hard worker. Everybody's a hard worker. Know what it is you bring to the table that's unique, that will set you apart, and make sure that you're ready to go in, nail that interview, get that job, come back in here and tithe and give.
Come on now. Come on now.
Say it now.
Remember, you are your brand. You are your brand. Know what sets you apart. The employers see thousands and thousands of applicants all the time. Why should they hire you? Why should they choose you? Why? What do you bring to the table? Know what you bring to the table and speak it and walk it in confidence. Now let's get back to the spiritual side. So, you're going to have to fast more. You're going to have to spend more time with God. Let go of the scandals. Let go of the senseless YouTube videos. Let go of the 50 Shades of Grey. You know what you watch. I don't even have to tell you. Know what you have to give up and be honest with yourself. Give that hour or two that you watch the scandals and you watch the 50 Shades of Grey and you did all of that foolishness. Spend that 1 or 2 hours with God. Replace that. Feed yourself. This principle can be applied in every area of your life.
Yes.
Your career, your education, your finances, in the church, as a parent. I thank God for Nehemiah's rejection in the Defense City. In order to get to that next level financially, though, but you have to do things differently. You can't keep wasting money, eating out all the time, buying clothes and shoes that you really don't need. You keep living on a $100,000 budget and you're only bringing in $50,000. Guess what? That means you're going to have to cook. You have to prepare your meals in advance at night and on the weekend. You got to stay away from the Chick-fil-A's and McDonald's and the Olive Gardens and the Ruby Tuesdays every night. You just can't do that. When you go to that next level, you have to do things differently. Think about the millionaires. The millionaires are millionaires for a reason. They're millionaires for, they think differently. Where they spend their money is different. They can buy clothes and clothes will last them for 3 or 4 years. We got to go and buy clothes every quarter. Or every week if we're doing shoes. And then the hair. Yeah, the hair. That's expensive. I went and saw a lady because I was having some problems with my hair. And she told me, yeah, you need to go buy buy a wig. Spend $200-300. I said, what? I don't spend $200-300 on no kind of hair. We're not doing that. We just not doing that. If you're gonna spend $200-300, go and invest something. Let me go and invest in a hair company. Let me go do that. Get some stock in a hair company. So I've been watching this lady and been having some health problems like with my stomach and different things in that area. And I think just because I'm getting older. So I've been following this lady called food blogger. She's on foodbabe.com for the past few months. And my son is homeschooled, so he's doing this final biology project on GMOs, genetically modified organisms. So there are some companies that are genetically modifying foods and putting ingredients in our foods, designing them to cause us cancer and to kill us all. They're killing our populations of people on purpose. On purpose. Because as long as we're on that government system, guess what? They got to supply for us. As long as they're issuing out Social Security checks, as long as they're issuing out Section 8 checks, as long as they're issuing out and making a way and providing for people, they have to continue to do it, and we're populating a lot faster than we're dying. So they're killing us off on purpose. They're giving us diseases on purpose. And we're spending our money on this stuff. We're spending our money on this stuff.
Go ahead.
The longer we live, the longer they have to take care of us. Now, because Jacob had the wrong people surrounding him, bringing him back what they saw, and he got afraid, he got scared. He knew that he couldn't go back because he didn't want Laban to try to trick him again from where he had just come out of, and he fought to get out of there, and he had to flee in order to make it out. But God told him to leave and to go back, and the next time around, he didn't know if he was going to be able to get out. So he knew that he had to honor God, and he couldn't go back. So he's in this place, and he hears this report from his people. The messenger saying that Esau's coming with the 400 people, and so he's afraid now to go forward. How many of you all are afraid sometimes to go forward?
Come on.
You don't know what you're going to face. You don't know what it's going to look like. You can't control the situation because you don't even know what the situation is going to look like.
My word.
And I'm a person that likes to be in control, although I don't like to admit it. But I set goals, I write plans out. I make sure that things are in order for that next level, that next step. And that's control. And so for me, in order to get to that next level, I've got to release that control and say, okay, God, I'm going to trust you through this process. Now, it's a lot easier said than done. Because I can trust God in some areas of my life, but I have to be honest that I don't trust him in all areas of my life.
Yes, Lord.
And it's a work in progress. So what we have to do is when we allow fear to overpower and to take over our minds, we don't think properly. We don't want to hear God's voice. We don't want to move because we're already unsure. But then especially if you don't hear or feel God with you, you're definitely not moving to go anywhere. So we stay and we sit and we rot and we die in our present situation.
Come on now.
We can't pay our bills, so then we go to desperate measures to make ends meet. When you did something wrong at work and you want God to change the situation around for the good, if we're really honest, Jacob was in the same situation that we're in. So he got to his still place. He got to his moment, the time where he said, God, I don't want to go forward. I'm scared. You got to change my situation for me. So although we put ourselves in the situations, we want God to change it. We want God to miraculously just move everything out of the way and us not learn our lesson through this process.
Come on.
Don't you know that God won't move things out of your way just because he needs you to learn? He needs you to learn when he's trying to show you and to teach you so that when you get to that next level, you won't do things the same.
Ah, that's good.
But when we don't do that, we find ourselves being distracted by all kinds of situations and distractions. I need my distractors. We find ourselves being distracted in every situation. And I'm just going to come down just to illustrate this briefly. So when we're distracted, we have the blinders on, and so we're in this one situation where we're in the present. I know, God, I can't go back. But God, I'm in this present situation, and you have the blinders on, and you're trying everything that you know how to do to be able to keep forward and to keep moving. But you hear these voices and these situations and these circumstances come up. So your kids start acting crazy. And you know that the grades keep going down the drain and the teachers keep calling, and you know that those situations keep coming, and yet you still try to hear God's voice.
Trust.
And you say, God, what am I doing wrong, God? You start questioning, where did I go wrong with this child, God? What did I do, God?
Trust.
Then you start with the job. The people on your job start acting crazy. Oh my God, and the reports keep coming, and then you get the demotions, and then you get fired, and everything else keeps coming on, and the people at the job, they start talking, they start gossiping, and they start lying on you. You start all of these different things, these distractions, and you can't hear God. And you're still trying to find him, and you're still trying to reach out to him, and you're still trying to find where God help me in this situation.
Trust.
Then you got your finances, you can't pay your bills, you got the bill collectors calling you. You know that you can't keep going. You know that you can't get another job. You're doing everything that you're trying to do, and the bills keep coming, they keep funneling in, and then here comes the evictions.
Trust.
Here comes. Everything starts falling by the wayside.
Trust.
Then you got your girlfriends. And you know that, okay, if I go to this and I try to do this, and you know that if you go to this way, you know it's going to be too far to the left. So God, I need to be able to follow you, God. I need to be able to hear you, God.
Trust.
Oh my God. And then you got the side pieces on the side. Say, you know what? You acting kind of funny. What's going on? And you know those people that you see on your job, you know that dude or that female, she's so fine, he's so fine. And they never paid attention to you, and now all of a sudden, it's lunch. Now all of a sudden it's you want to go have a meeting, you want to, what are you doing in your life? What's going on?
Trust.
And then all of the thoughts start coming, and you're like, okay, and so then y'all start flirting, and things start spiraling down, and things start going down the drain, and you're like, okay, God, how did I get off track? And then you get home, and then you still got to go to your husband, you still got to go home to your wife, and they acting crazy. They acting stupid. They don't understand what is going on.
Trust.
And you still got to hear God through this situation. You still got to be able to hear God.
Trust.
You have all the distractions going on, and they're louder, and they get louder, and they get louder, and they get louder. And you can't see your way through. You don't know where you're going, but you're trying to trust God.
Trust.
You don't know where you're going. And so in order to get to that next level, guess what? You might have to stumble sometimes. But are you going to get to the next level? Are you going to fight to that next level?
Trust.
You might have to crawl your way up to that next level. But are you going to do that in order to get to the next level where God has you? You're going to bump into some stuff. Find your way.
Trust.
Don't you let go, and don't you stop listening to the voice of God. You find your way around. You move around to that situation. And you say, God, I will trust you. I can't see my way through right now. But God, I will trust you. I don't know what it's going to look like, God, but I will trust you. Everything that's in me, I will trust you. I don't know how to do it, God, but I'm going to trust you. And then he takes the blinders off. And he meets you. And before you know it, you're at your next level. You're at your next level. Stay focused on God. Stay focused on God.
Yeah.
Stay focused on God. What you see, what you hear. You stay focused on what God is telling you and how he's leading you. You stay focused and you stay there. Trust God. Trust God. Trust God. I remember seeing a video of both of Madonna and Beyonce, great performers, in concert, and both of them, at a time during their performance, they failed. They bounced right back up.
Mm-hmm, they sure do.
Like nothing had ever happened. They kept it moving. Now imagine if we take that approach to life. If we take that approach to our spiritual walk with God. No matter what happens, stuff is gonna happen. It's just life. Stuff is gonna happen. What are you gonna do in that process? Are you gonna stay and are you gonna wallow? Or are you gonna fight and you say, God, I don't care what is gonna happen. What you do, what you say. God, I will not let go until you bless me.
Yes.
In that situation where I was yearning and I was desiring and I was longing for God, day and night, day and night, day and night. I don't care what it was. It was no TV. I like HGTV. No HGTV. No none of that. I was yearning. God, I need you to bless me. I don't care how you do it. But God, I need you to bless me. My blessing was for his presence to be present with me.
Yes.
To be near me. For him to speak to me. For him to show me that he was there. Learn to trust God in your process. I struggle with fear a lot. And it's not fear that I'm afraid that I'm just afraid, but I don't want to disappoint God. I don't want to disappoint God. I've seen so much in my life, and I've seen people manipulate their way to the pulpit.
Come on now.
I've seen witchcraft used to get to the pulpit and then to mask it as God's presence. I've been a victim of a pastor's wife trying to break up my marriage at the infancy state of our marriage, misusing their authority. I've been treated like a dog by leadership because they could see the gift and the calling in me, and they treated me like a dog. They were intimidated by something I couldn't even see. I don't know all God has given me. I'm still learning it. I'm still learning everything that he's given me, and I didn't even know when they see it, and because they see it, they treat me different. I don't know what I have. I've been treated like an outcast because I'm confident in my abilities and in my inabilities. There are so many things that I cannot do vocally, but I'll tell you before you figure it out. There are some things that God is taking us to at this next level. It's not going to be easy for us. We're going to have to wrestle our way through. But as long as God is with us, it's possible. Amen. As long as God is with us, it is possible. Your blessing may not be my blessing, but my blessing again was God's presence. For several months ago, God showed me that there was a shifting taking place here at the tree. And he showed me his mighty hand taking the tree. He was uprooting it, and he shook it. And so I said, God, what does that mean? And I don't know much about trees. I'm not a gardener. I know any of that stuff. So I had to go and I had to look at it. I love nature. I love colors. I love flowers. But I had to go and I had to look at this because I was like, what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? And so he showed me how he was shaking off the dead leaves that we planted.
Come on.
So the flowers might not look like you want them to look. But during the research process, if you take a tree, over a lifetime, depending on the tree, vines can kind of start growing on the tree. Moss, I don't know if any of you all know moss. I'm from the South, so that's like the gray stringy stuff that's on the trees. So that's, we see those on all of the trees, but things just start to come, and they settle, and they get comfortable, and they don't want to leave. And so over time, it makes the tree unhealthy.
Come on.
You know the busybodies in church, the dead roots, the dead leaves, the tree branches, the people that come with their foolishness, those that come to buck up against leadership and the leadership's assignment, those that come in and they're not looking to change, they just want to come and just be here. The people that want to come in to suck our pastors dry, and they don't want to work in ministry, you know, the eyes of the ministry. Those that always have something going on, the spectators. The ones that come with their drama, they cause drama, they mess. Pastor has an entire segment on these characteristics of these type of people. The sluggards, the woe is me, the backbiters, the liars, the manipulators. One way to get a tree back to its healthy state is to uproot it.
Come on.
So in uprooting a tree, it does significant damage to the root system. And all the remaining intact roots aren't sufficient enough to be able to anchor the tree or to draw the water, the nutrients that the tree needs to survive. So one by one, we aren't strong enough to provide the nutrients and the water that it needs to survive once the tree is uprooted. But together, united. So this is a process where things are going to be exposed. So us and all of our mess, the things that won't allow the ministry to move forward in unity. Pastor has to come and he has to correct. He has to teach. He has to train. Because when the replanting takes place, it has to be done carefully to prevent the damage.
Come on.
So in order to prevent further damage, it's got to be done gently.
Yes.
So you place the tree back in its original position. You pack all the soil around it so that no air pockets are in the tree. You can't let anything penetrate once it's replanted. Because once it's replanted and something comes to penetrate, over time it dries out the root system. And then you have the same problem all over again. To support the tree, you have to install 2 or more stakes outside of the root system. So if you think about it, you have to run, and then you have to run the guidelines around the areas of the trees. And then, so in order to do that into different directions, we must love one another. We must support one another. Let me see if I can illustrate this a little. Can I have you, sir, and you, sir, and you, sir? Sir, Oscar, you're going to be the tree. You're going to be a staff outside of the root system. You have one more person. Ma'am. So turn towards Reverend Oscar and stand right there. So as he's replanting and the staves are around, so let me have one more staff. Can I have one more right behind you? So this is what we represent here at the tree. So as it's replanted, you have the staves around it to hold it up, to keep it up, to make sure that it doesn't lose its position. So that means we have to pray over one another, that we have to love one another.
Come on.
We have to surround and cover one another.
Come on.
That means that everything that we do has to be to support the mission that God has given for this ministry. No other mission, no other desire, no other direction.
Come on.
One. So as he's there and then it stands up long enough for them to pray over him and to support him, to reach your hands towards him, to support him. So as you're holding him up, as you're speaking life into his life, as you're encouraging him, as he's guiding you to be able to hold up one another, over time, the staves are no longer needed.
Come on.
Because the tree is back, it's rooted, it's strong in its foundation, and you're able to stand up and God can get the glory out of it. Thank you. So we here at the tree, that's what you have to do with one another. Once replanted, the amount of care that you give this tree plays a major role in your recovery. In order for us to fully recover, we have got to spend time with God.
Yes.
We have to have a relationship with God. We must build, we must maintain that relationship with God. It is not an option. I know we're busy. Everybody's busy. Spend time with God. I don't want to dictate to you how much time, but spend that time with God. Have that relationship with God. We have to. You prune the tree every now and then you obey God. What are you willing to lose to get God's blessings today?
Come on now.
For Jacob, he lost his ability to walk straight without a limp for the rest of his life. What are you willing to lose in order to fully trust God to get to this next level? God blessed him and then he changed his name. This is your push, ladies and gentlemen, to your next level. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay and you're going to wrestle with God, wrestle with yourself? You're going to go backwards? You're going to go back to the Labans of your life? Or are you going to go forward and trust God? You may not like it at first, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but will you trust God enough with your life to be able to follow him forward? I'm just asking, Lord, that you have pricked their hearts, God. This is not to condemn you. This is to help you to move forward. This is your push to move forward.
Yes.
Now, God, you meet every need on today, God, in the name of Jesus. God, you guard the ears of your people now in the name of Jesus to remove every distraction, God, that comes up against them, God. Give them the strength, God, to be able to hear you and only you, to stay focused on you and only you, God. They might not be able to see their way, God, but if they could just know and to trust that you're there. Be with them, God. Strengthen them, God. Prepare their hearts for where you're taking them in the name of Jesus. Prepare their minds, God, for where you're taking them in the name of Jesus. We honor you on this day, God. We bless you on this day, God. And God, I thank you, Lord, for showing up. Be glorified, God, in this place. And meet the needs of your people in Jesus' name.